Good day. This is Grandpa 1940, and today I would like to talk to you about British politics and British politics over the past 40 or 50 years. I would like to present the Queen's speech if Her Majesty was allowed to speak her mind. To my loyal Lords and Commons, greetings. As this is indeed a special day, we thought that it might be a treat for my many millions of British subjects to hear my speaking a few home truths to the people who have been entrusted with the government of my kingdom. We find that we have been betrayed by a succession of, we hesitate to use the term governments, as the last thing which has been done in our name is governing. Beginning with the traitor Heath, who lied and lied again to achieve his goal of membership of the European Common Market. Our sovereignty was diminished from that day, and the effects of this traitor's actions over the decades have proved to be truly disastrous for the British Isles and for this United Kingdom. That succeeding governments of both Conservative and Labour parties have both continued and increased the levels of intrusive and totally undemocratic interference in British affairs by the cancerous and totalitarian European Union to such an extent that there is hardly anything left that my government can achieve without reference to their political masters in Brussels. But the most significant damage to my realm was achieved under the governance of the traitor Blair, under whose hand and rule came forth the damaging legislation of devolution. And now we see the results, as the demagogues have snatched the majority in Edinburgh and are threatening the dissolution of the United Kingdom. We have also seen the lunacies perpetrated by the inclusion of a foreign court as arbiter in our own judicial system, the slow strangling of our remaining primary industries under the dead hand of a Brussels bureaucracy, which never, ever forgets, not forgetting the strange sights of terrorists, murderers and rapists allowed to stay in these lands because their rights might be damaged if they were deported. We also had to sit and watch as the same murderous band who planned the death of my wonderful uncle were welcomed into the devolved Assembly of Northern Ireland instead of watching happily as they were swung high from gibbets. We, as the constitutional monarch, had to watch as the Labour government altered the whole nature of many of our towns and cities with the importation of millions of foreigners under the guise of immigration rules, which did nothing but dilute and destroy the very essence of what it is to be British. They have given passports to many, and to those who did not even deserve it. But the greatest crime is the importation of a whole block of adherents to a religion which despises the very freedoms which we have espoused and welcomed. Our governments have sat and betrayed our armed forces by both action and inaction. They have left our servicemen and women without protection from danger by the purchase and distribution of ineffective armoured vehicles, when what was needed was readily available but totally ignored. The Royal Navy, once the most effective and feared in the world, has been reduced to little more than a coastal defence force, and for not a very long length of coast either. Through the machinations of the Ministry of Defence, our Air Force has been sliced almost to the bone, with aircraft worth billions sent to the scrapyard before even being flown in anger. Our army, what remains of it, is a ready target for the machinations of those sub-traitors from the so-called Ministry of Defence. So-called because the last thing on their minds is the defence of the realm. We have watched in quiet horror as a succession of illiberal laws, which would reduce the freedoms evolved and enjoyed over many centuries, have passed across our palace desk, awaiting my signature. A signature which was written but grudgingly and under a mute protest. We also watched as this present so-called Conservative government also took steps to reduce those same freedoms even further, with a succession of hate crime laws, where the ancient ideal of innocent until proven guilty has been literally stood on its head, all in the sacred name of protecting those seemingly offended. We welcome the decision to ask, by a referendum, the entire population of this once united kingdom if they wish to stay in or to leave the European Union, and I welcome the return of powers which had been given away so readily. I have, however, not been so enchanted with the cack-handed manner in which these so-called negotiations have been carried out, but will live in hope that things might turn out better than expected. I thank you for watching and hope that you may visit Alt News Media again soon. Thank you.